Ah, what a fantastic vacation, spending our fuel and limited resources on a whole bunch of crazy crap.
I agree, Mr. Code. I especially love this glowing red mask thingy. Everything's all red and cool.
Oh, sweet, let me see.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me just,
Judge, you okay?
I'm fine. I just need a way to move all this junk.
You know, you could just use your
I have no time for your wild theories, Mr. Code. We need action. Let's see, aha.
What's that noise?
Progress, Mr. Code. Progress. And pain. Lots and lots of pain. And fire.
Well, before the ship's fire suppressant system kicks in, seals off the room, and kills us all by asphyxiation, let's pass the time with a little reading and let's examine those IDW comics.
My fur is making a crunching sound whenever I move. Ow, the pain.
I'll discuss the artwork before we get to the actual story because it deserves its own recognition. As opposed to the Flash style of the show, the somewhat surreal style utilized here allows for much more imaginative and over-the-top facial expressions. The use of shadows and shading gives a much more darker and dramatic appearance, as opposed to the usual bright and pastel pony colors. Even the series itself has a slightly darker tone with physical violence and legitimately intimidating imagery. Despite these cosmetic differences, the comics still hold true to the show, perfectly personifying the characters' unique traits established from the show, world building with new and old locations, and overall well-paced, interesting narratives and situations. This was made with a lot of love from true fans of MLP, and it definitely shows. Now that intro's out of the way, let's begin with the return of the Queen Chrysalis arc. We begin with the CMC trying to earn their cutie marks yet again, torn between zoologists and jungle adventures.
Indiana Jones and the quest for the lost cutie marks.
A summer blockbuster to be sure, but changelings under the guise of Fluttershy's animals capture them, and the next day we see them grow in numbers as they infiltrate Ponyville. We're then introduced to our first bit of world building by introducing the arrival of the Secretariat's Comet, which is capable of greatly exemplifying the power of all magical creatures, which reminds me of Sozon's Comet from Avatar: The Last Airbender, wherein the Fire Nation's strength grew exponentially from its presence. The main six eventually become aware of the changeling plot and attempt to fight them off, after a brief but humorously choreographed battle. And it's at this point I ask, why didn't the changelings just capture the main six individually during the night? Fluttershy lives on the outskirts of town and the changelings were right outside her home. Why risk any possible scenario of loss when they could just catch them unawares and just act normal with Twilight during the presiding adventure and reveal themselves at the climax, creating a brilliant twist ending. Still, a great strategy implemented here, but not the best. Anyway, after freeing every pony, the main six discovered that the CMC are gone, and through a magical orb, our titular antagonist reveals herself and the CMC in her capture. These are some of my favorite scenes in this arc, as we see the three fillies slowly torment the queen with incessant ignorance of their capture, and proceed to constantly annoy her with insults, or discussing how they could possibly get cutie marks in their current situation, and just acting completely oblivious to the danger they're in. With an obvious trap in sight and Celestia unavailable, the main six have no choice but to make it to the Changeling Kingdom in 3 days, lest they face an all-powerful shape-shifting tyrant and lose their sisters. On to issue 2, we get a little bit more world building with the surrounding geography of the areas neighboring the Changeling Kingdom. The girls all argue over the best way to travel through the kingdom, which builds up the breakup plotline later in the mine, where they deal with a pony-obsessed troll, a series of cave-ins, and a roving gang of
spiders! A giant legion of spiders!
Curse you and your twisted science, Dr. Smith! Anyway, the main six then get separated into 3 groups from the cave-ins caused by changeling scouts, creating a similar scenario to Discord dividing the group in Return of Harmony. I'll get back to that. Speaking of corruption, the Changeling Scouts send Gallivant as each of the main six to turn them against each other, and it's here where the rest of the story loses character consistency and logic. In Return of Harmony, Discord used his powers of manipulation to play on each of the ponies' fears and insecurities, thereby making them doubt themselves, twisting the elements to their negative opposite, turning all the main six against each other. Here they break up because of essentially what amounts to name-calling. And none of them really question the suddenly irrational and mean-spirited behavior of their friends are showing, and immediately jump to the conclusion that the friends just hate each other. Yeah, I don't buy this breakup one bit. On a mission where they're encountering changelings, didn't it occur to any of them to stop and think that it was a deception on the part of a changeling, or at least some kind of lame trick? During the spider attack, they almost immediately forget their hatred of each other and even cheer each other on, just to go instantly right back into fighting each other once again as they exit the cave. A little consistency is all I ask, people. And just like Journey, they go their separate ways. We roll into issue 3 with a look to the past, and we get an interesting glimpse into what happened to the Changelings following their departure from the royal wedding. Celestia closes the door and opens a window scenario where they land in a town of adorable, affectionate felines who immediately welcome the Changeling overlords. Naturally, they take immediate advantage of such an influx of love and drain the entire town. This whole prologue is not only hilariously dark, but also establishes how the Changeling army was able to recover so quickly. And it's here that Chrysalis also reveals her master plans, coinciding with the Secretariat's Comet event. Using her recent massive love energy drainage combined with the Comet's influence over Chrysalis and Twilight, she will drain all of Twilight's magic and feed her Changeling with the main six's massive emotional distress. This is why I love this interpretation of Chrysalis. Not only is she more devious, but she's become much more cunning, developing a logical plan of attack using the knowledge of Equestria phenomena and of course the bargaining chip with the CMC, learning from her mistakes at the royal wedding. Chrysalis relishes in the main six's disbandment as we see the divided teams begin to regret their departure, and it's only now that Rainbow Dash, not Twilight, thinks it was a possible Changeling trick.
In other news, the sun rose today just as scheduled.
Each of the pairs run into mythological or crazed creatures and eventually end up literally bumping into each other, reuniting once again. Starting in the final issue of the Chrysalis arc, Twilight exposits about the comet's power.
Crazy headcanon territory!
It's interesting to think about how such a rare phenomena with such powerful magical surges can affect Equestria. With unicorns, the effect is obvious, but with Pegasi, they could be imbued with incredible speed, with the power to generate powerful storms or even nullify arid lands suitable for crop production, and coincide with earth ponies, creating plentiful food resources, even in the worst terrain.
Crazy headcanon territory over!
The main six then infiltrate the MC Escherus castle where pop culture references run wild.
Going up the stairs and going down the stairs and going up the stairs and going down the stairs.
Eventually, they reach the throne room and Chrysalis is impressed by Twilight's power, then goes all dark side on her.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
I'll never join you!
No, young Skywalker. You will die.
Jeez, this has got really dark. Again, Chrysalis demonstrates how much of a threatening character she is here, not only demonstrating her power surge by instantly capturing Twilight's friends, but further shows how in control of the situation he is, using that power to torture her friends with lightning. Twilight, our noble leader, decides to sacrifice herself to the wills of the Changeling Queen in exchange for her friend's safety. Though it's at this moment, Chrysalis uses this moment to attack as the comet flies overhead, leading to another dramatic action scene. They're evenly matched until the power of true love surges over Chrysalis's stolen love and blasts the queen to oblivion. Nah, just kidding. She's trapped forever to listen to Pinky's doppelganger costume and its incessant annoyance for eternity. Truly a forbidden torture method. And so the arc ends with Celestia and Spike arriving, informing everyone that they've been dealing with a cockatrice attack.
There were horses and a man on fire, and I killed a guy with a trident.
I like how the writers even include this little nod to Spike's love interest with Rarity, which allows this relationship to develop more in the show or even the comics itself. Anyway, the Return of Queen Chrysalis arc is pretty good. For first-time writers in this successful franchise, they clearly demonstrate their knowledge of the show from its locations, characters, and of course, comedy. While the second issue had its share of problems with character consistency, overall this is a well-paced dramatic narrative that gave us a lot of world building into Equestria, too many pop culture references to count, excellent usage of character personalities and quirks, and just an entertaining, fun adventure. Next time we check out the Nightmarity arc. And one last thing before I go. As always, when it comes to parties, Pinkie Pie takes the cake.